Hi everyone, hey guys, we are now looking at the job requirement of a data warehouse developer or an ETL developer. This is a job requirement we were analyzing just during our recent session, and I thought this could be a great opportunity to also walk you guys who didn't have a chance to be on that webinar to also understand what is the difference between a data warehouse developer and a data or ETL developer. Okay, so I've prepared a slide for you. I'll show it to you, and if you would like to ask me questions, you can, because I'm streaming this live on YouTube. So feel free to ask questions in comments. If you guys have a good question, I'll respond it right away. So keep asking. Cool. So let me open up the slide on my iPad, and you will be able to see a little ecosystem. So we are looking at the bank, say imaginary bank, and you can see on the left-hand side that there are a few systems. For example, there's one system right here. There's another system here, and another system right here, and fourth system on the left bottom. So what we can see is that there are a few development teams. For example, there may be one development team right here that only focuses on developing products related to mortgages. Then there may be another Scrum team dedicated to developing the internet banking solution, and another team developing some business-to-business loans. Okay, and each of these systems has its own database, its own team. Okay, it's a transaction system that processes real-time data. And now, why is it important? Well, imagine this bank has some management, right? And the management wants to see reports aggregated across all these systems. So I'll just circle them, right? Like all these systems. So they want to see reports that aggregate mortgages and also some B2B loans, etc. Right? But how do they do it? Well, they need to extract data from those so-called primary systems to some generic data warehouse. So as you can see on the on the right-hand side here. Okay, so this is the data warehouse. So it's a huge storage of all the data from one company or even multiple companies in case a corporation acquires another company. Okay, so now how do they do it? Well, they create pipelines. So this is one pipeline, this is another pipeline, and third pipeline, and fourth pipeline. And by pipelines, we usually refer to certain activities, certain little systems that actually get data from the primary source and import the data to the target source. So this is the target source. Target. And this is source. Okay, source and target. So if you think about a data warehouse developer, well, that's a developer who needs to take care of developing the data warehouse, right? Because the data warehouse is a huge storage. It's a set of different databases, usually Oracle or Teradata databases or Postgres databases, or it could be a cloud database, right? But someone needs to take care of it. Someone needs to develop it. So usually database developers develop data warehouses, right? And now, what is ETL? Well, ETL is the process of extracting data and transforming them, because imagine in these primary systems, the data may be in different format. Probably you also have different Excel sheets, and in one Excel sheet you have a data in one format, and in another Excel sheet you have data in another format. It could be, say, date, right? Sometimes you may have date with, like, say, in like comma separated. Sometimes you may have it written as a word, say February 4th, and sometimes you may have American way to write dates. So like there are lots of different ways how to enter a date, right? And the ETL is the process of aggregating the data in the same format. Extract data from one source database, transform the data, and then load data to the target database. So who is an ETL developer? Well, it's pretty much the same person as the data warehouse developer. Someone who develops the data warehouse and creates the pipelines that migrate data from one source to another. Okay, so when someone asks you what's the difference between a data warehouse developer and an ETL developer, well, it's quite likely there is no difference unless in that particular team they have different roles and maybe one person only focuses on this part, developing the data warehouse in Oracle, while another person focuses on creating some of these pipelines. But essentially, it is very similar job, just to sometimes labeled with two different phrases: data warehouse developer versus an ETL, extract, transform, and load developer. Maybe I can also write it here. So hold a sec. So this would be extract, transform, and load. Okay, so that's why ETL, extract, transform, and load. ETL developer. So when you see a job requirement such as this one, and they require the person to work closely with a data warehouse administrator, well, the data warehouse administrator would administer what we can see on the right hand side here, the data warehouse. So it could be an Oracle database. So an administrator is someone who takes care of the database server, someone who needs to take care of operating the database, someone who needs to take care of the performance of the database. The database administrator would manage backups or replication, etc. Okay, so that's the actually third role in this sense, data warehouse administrator. So it's not a developer, because the developer would create these individual tables here, tables with lots of data. The ETL developer would fill those data with data from primary sources, and a database administrator would make sure that this data warehouse actually operates and is working constantly. And these guys over here on the top right, well, they are users of the system. It could be a data analyst, it could be a business intelligence analyst. So people who get some value from the data that is stored in a data warehouse. Okay, so if you guys have any question, feel free to ask. Since I'm recording this live, you may just jump in, ask anything. Hopefully I'll be able to see your question right here, and I can make it interactive this way. Okay. And in any case, if you would like to also look at some of these skills necessary, I can show you one of the mind maps that I've created, which is maybe also included in this presentation. Oh yeah, it's this one. So this is one of the mind maps. Can I zoom it in? Oh yeah. So you would be able to see some of the skills related to the data ecosystem. For example, as data cleaning or data mining or data reporting. So, for example, a database administrator would not really say need to have some knowledge of statistics and probability, but a data warehouse administrator would certainly need to be able to manage a database, relational database or non-relational database. A data analyst would need to be able to visualize data, so the data visualization skill is important for data analyst, or also data mining skill. So some of these skills are more relevant for people who migrate data. So those data developers who get data from one source and then migrate data to another source through the ETL process, extract, transform, and load. And other IT professionals would need to be able to take care of the data management or database management. Okay, so if you also would like to get this mind map with a lot more mind maps, you can just get the IT recruiter mind maps booklet. This is what it looks like. There are almost 30 mind maps by now. You can get it in a PDF and you will be able to structure your thoughts. You'll be able to see some of the most common programming languages and frameworks. So next time you get a job requirement from a hiring manager, you can just open up a related mind map, for example, a software development with Java or with C# right here, or with JavaScript programming language, and you would be able to see some of the common programming like languages and frameworks. In this case, C# is the programming language, the .NET is the framework around or the ecosystem, and then there are certain frameworks used for particular purposes. For example, for mobile app development using C#. But that's out of the scope of the data related topics. But what I would probably mention is that some of these languages can be also used for data management. C# could be used, but it's not the most frequent use case. But for example, PL/SQL or Python or R language, those languages are frequently used for data related work. Okay, so yeah, unless you have any question, maybe I can show you one more mind map. Let's see, something related to what I was just showing you. Oh yeah, the data warehouse tools. Let me just open it up right here. Data warehouse tools. There are some tools that are paid. These tools are usually corporate, and some other tools are free and open source. So some of these tools are used around the globe because some of the largest companies have developed them. For example, Microsoft has developed the SSIS server, SQL Server Integration Services, or Amazon has created Redshift database, which is a great data warehouse tool. Oracle obviously has created the database that's been used for ages by corporations to manage their data warehouse, Teradata, and even some emerging companies, for example, Tableau or Sisense. They have created lots of really great and useful tools. So just keep this in mind next time you interview a data warehouse developer or an ETL developer or a data analyst or I don't know, data engineer. Like, there are so many data related roles, sometimes just labeled with different title, but pretty much the same role as we've seen with a data warehouse / ETL developer. Okay, so this is just really briefly what I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully you guys have a productive start of the week. I'm checking some of the comments. If there are no comments, I'll wrap it up. If you guys want to get this booklet with all the mind maps, you can just go to the website itrecruitermindmaps.com and you can get it. If you'd like to learn more about how to recruit IT professionals, I wrote this book called IT Talents Book. So you will learn how to find, how to match and recruit IT candidates with confidence. And obviously I wrote some more ebooks that you can also find on our website at geekrecruiters.com. So you can just go there, get some of these ebooks, learn, and if you eventually would like me to train your team of recruiters or sales managers, I can probably do it also, because that's what I'm doing for some companies, training the recruitment and sales teams. So that's also what we could talk about if you are interested. So you can just go to my website, michaljuhas.com, and you can download more information. So obviously I'll include links in the video description. You can find it there, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you um, seeing you soon. Yeah, have a wonderful day, everyone. Cheers.